who I'll be shipped with today. Ugh, I hope it's not Sebi again. Ooh, a crack ship? Pleased to meet you.
Where am I? Who are you?
Even in the depths of night, where no other bird dares to take flight, one soars alone to shine that righteousness on the world's blight. For that one is me. I am the great thief, Yatagarasu. My name's Kay Faraday. You can call me Kay, okay? I hope the fandom puts us together in a heist AU. I'm aching for some crime.
Fandom? What are you talking about?
You mean the people who have the same interest in certain pieces of media, silly?
What? I wish Light was here right now.
They become friends, get along, even make fan content together. Although the history of fandom is pretty interesting.
Yeah, right.
Well, let's welcome our viewers and possibly even fans to the History of Fandom.
Huh?
Many believe that the first fandom ever created was Star Trek, but actually the start of fandoms and fan culture can be linked all the way back to the 1890s. Sherlock Holmes was a popular fiction series which featured Sherlock Holmes, a cunning and smart detective, widely admired by many fans of the series. After Sherlock Holmes was killed off in 1893, there were mass demonstrations that mourned him. Fans even got obituaries for the character published in the newspaper.
Shortly after which, in 1897, the fans started writing what we would now call fanfiction. It was detailed narratives of the fans' own interpretations of what could have happened if Holmes hadn't died. After a decade of reading letters and seeing the fans flourish, Doyle, the author of Sherlock Holmes, revived the series and added on to the franchise after popular demand. This is a great example of how fan culture has positively impacted a series for the greater good.
Hi there, I'm Kay Faraday, and boy do I have a deal for you. Have you ever wanted a world-class detective, even though he's only known really in Britain, to solve your case for you? Well, I got the solution to that, featuring Clavy's uncle from generations ago. He's a world-class detective, and I can hire a spirit medium to channel him for you. No more need for these defense attorneys or these detectives or prosecutors. Just hire Clavy's uncle from the 1800s. I can hire him for you. So, call me, Kay Faraday, if you want Sherlock Holmes to solve your case for you. Huh? I'm getting a call. Hold on, I'm getting a call. Hello? What do you mean I can't call Clavy's uncle Sherlock Holmes? That's his name! The Conan Doyle estate? You know what? They don't know who they're dealing with. I'm coming for you! See what happens when you mess with the great media! So call me, Kay Faraday, and I can hire Sherlock Holmes for you. Logic not included.
It was after the arrival of Star Trek, along with other sci-fi fandom, that fandoms and fan influences began to move closer to the spotlight. Star Trek in the mid-1900s, fans calling themselves Trekkies, was the biggest of all these fandoms at the time. Even though the creator wrote a letter to continue the series, Star Trek was in danger of being canceled near the end of its first season. If it weren't for the thousands of letters from passionate Trekkies dying for the continuation of the series, Star Trek would be no more.
Star Trek and Trekkies also led to the creation of many mainstays of fandom culture. They started the idea of fan projects like fanzines. One of them was actually where the term Mary Sue originated. It was originally written as an idealized version of an author in fan fiction. They were also the first fandom to ever organize and run a fan convention.
Speaking of fan conventions, the first big convention that welcomed fandoms of all different varieties took place at the World Science Convention in 1984. People from anime fandoms, sci-fi fandoms, and many others all came together for this convention. This was also in cosplaying, an initially Japanese term for the English portmanteau of costume play, came to popularity, and from 1984 on, it became more and more popular and a mainstay of fandom.
After the creation of the internet, with it being more accessible to the population, numerous fanfiction sites came into play and became an essential part of the fandom. Anyone, anywhere, could write and post fanfiction. Although at the start, fanfiction sites didn't have copyright protections yet, so authors such as Anne Rice went after fanfic writers with legal threats. It was only after J.K. Rowling, the author of popular Harry Potter books, voiced her approval of fanfiction and AO3's creation that authors started accepting fanfiction as a fan medium. Even some fanfictions have been made into movies, such as After, which was initially a Harry Styles X-reader, or books, like 50 Shades of Grey, which was initially a Twilight fanfiction.
Just as fanfiction grew, so did ways for communities to connect, which led to the growth of Tumblr. Tumblr is a social media site where people tend to go for fan content like ask-logs, fan comics, fan art, cosplays, etc. Tumblr also led to the creation of group fandoms, like for example Super Wholakian, which was a combination fandom of BBC Sherlock, Supernatural, which was produced by the CW, and Doctor Who.
What you doing?
Another thing Tumblr led to was the rise of alternate universes and shipping culture. Shipping culture and AUs, aka alternate universes, played a big part in fanfiction. Ships mean when a fan thinks that two characters would be good in a relationship. As simple as that sounds, ships can branch out in many different ways. One example is being OTPs, BroTPs, and NoTPs. OTPs are someone's favorite ship, BroTPs are the same as OTPs, except that fans see a pairing in a platonic light, and NoTPs are someone's least favorite ships. People like to take these ships, or cast of characters, and put them into their own little imaginary world. These are called alternate universes, or AU.
I think a good example of this is Undertale and the Sand shipping and its various alternate universes, and also the Onceler fandom.
How bad can I be? I'm just doing what comes naturally. How bad can I be?
Which was a fandom that led to the beginning of the sexy man craze. People had crushes on the Onceler from the animated movie The Lorax because he was a misunderstood twink, technical term here, and because his song was a bop. Because of the fact that you couldn't ship him with anyone, people shipped him with himself and alternate versions of himself. This ended up growing and became known as the Onceler fandom.
Homestuck is one of the Tumblr mainstays alongside Undertale for how many younger people it brought into the fandom. Nowadays, fandom is in the mainstream. It's active on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. It has an effect on the real world and the media inside it. Another example of a fandom's impact are original characters, or OCs, specifically fan OCs. The name speaks for itself. Fans create their own characters heavily inspired by the content that the fan is into. This could lead to many different and creative areas, such as people creating fan projects or rewriting stories with their characters. Good examples of this would be object shows in Danganronpa, and many more. Other ways people treat their fan OCs is by shipping them with canon characters. This is usually characters that just bring the person comfort, or just genuinely their favorite character, or both.
With the thriving of many individual fandoms like Sonic the Hedgehog or Undertale or many more, there would be more fan content between each of the respective fandoms. This contribution helped in shaping and molding fandoms to something that would feel more personalized with a lot of people. It also helps to influence the creators who are working on these projects to implement fans' ideas into their project as well. One example being Bendy and the Ink Machine. According to the creators' interviews, they know already what the ending would be, but for the middle part during development, they intended to build as they go along. Before the release of the Alice Angel chapter, many fans had already begun theorizing or had been interested in the idea of Alice being in Chapter 2. Later on, after the release of Chapter 2, Alice Angel was seen on the stage, furthering the game development and growth.
Another example is Sonic's redesign. When the trailer first came out, everyone hated Sonic's design. Sonic fandom was outraged at this, and because it was an awful design, and took to Twitter to let Sony know how they felt about this. Sony listened to the fans and pushed back the air date of the movie in order to fix his design, which thankfully they did, giving us the Blue Hedgehog, who has now starred in 2 movies. Homestuck can be even considered in this camp too, with how the fandom actually got Andrew Hussey to make the popular headcanon of the main character being trans canon, which gave the fandom Jane Egbert.
All of this shows that fandoms and fan communities can have an inspiring and powerful effect on media, creators' choices, and can change said media for the better, as well as bring people together through the same interests.
Bensound.com. Bensound.com.